the continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Dorothy Malone as Constance Mackenzie, Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neill as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Tim O'Connor as Elliot Carson, Christopher Connolly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Today, Stephen Cord runs into the irony of life in a small town. Here in the town square, crossed and recrossed again by everyone, Stephen sees his wife, Betty. The Cords are now separated, facing a divorce. The reason? Stephen's involvement with Adrienne Van Leyden, Mott and Peyton's fiancée. Once, Stephen and Betty had planned a brilliant future together. Now all that is gone, and Stephen knows that he, and he alone, is responsible. The flaw that Mott and Peyton saw and exploited was Stephen himself.
I just got the look from my secretary.
A look?
Mm-hmm. She does something with her eyes. Something that says there's trouble in my office. What are you doing here?
I thought that was obvious. I'm waiting for you.
Why?
Oh, I thought you might take me to lunch. I miss you.
I don't want you dropping into my office. I'm busy.
All work and no play.
Cut it, Adrienne. Don't get possessive.
Do you have to get angry every time that we see each other?
Last night.
I'm sorry about last night.
Well, I'm not sorry about last night. Oh, please, Stephen, don't shut me out. I thought we'd come to some kind of understanding.
It won't work, Adrienne. You and I. It just won't.
It's because of her, isn't it? I saw you two in the square. It was very touching. But I have news for you, Stephen. If there's one thing that won't work, it's you and Betty.
You're angry. I don't blame you. But it won't help.
What will? Every time you see her, it's as if I don't exist for you.
She's my wife.
That doesn't seem to mean much to her.
I'm afraid it does to me.
It's going to be a long year for you, Stephen. Because while Betty waits for her divorce, you're going to bump into her lots of times accidentally. And every time is going to be just like today.
Maybe it will.
Well, just don't expect me to hang around to pick up the pieces. That's not my style.
I wasn't planning on it.
After I marry Martin Peyton, I'm not going to be available for aid and comfort.
Oh, Adrienne, this isn't necessary.
Isn't it? I think so.
I think you ought to know the interesting ground rules that your grandfather set down for our marriage. I'm to be his exclusive possession. And to be on display. I'm to be looked at, but not handled. Do you understand me?
Yes, I understand.
You can't make me believe that you don't care for me. Last night you held me in your arms and you meant it. I know you did. You needed me and you still do.
I saw my grandfather in my mind's eye, lying dead at the foot of the stairs. And I had done it.
You were afraid and I helped you. Now I need you to help me. Don't force me to marry Martin Peyton.
Nobody's forcing you to marry anyone. Walk out. It's as easy as that.
I can't.
You're not locked in a tower. The place isn't surrounded by a moat.
For me, it is.
Adrienne.
Stephen, don't force me to beg you. You know what I was before I met you. Don't force me to go back to that.
You can't leave the good life, is that it? All the fine clothes, the servants, all the rest. Well, your prison. You live in it.
That's it.
That's it.
You'd let me walk out of your life just like that. Well, it's not only going to be a long year for you, Stephen.
It's going to be a lonely one.
Because now you've lost both of us.
All right, Weber. Shut the door. Shut the door. Now then, what were you and Stephen conniving behind my back?
Nothing, Martin.
That's a lie. You want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to marry me and still have Stephen.
Just because you happened to see me coming out of his office.
I didn't just happen to see you, any more than I just happened to see you tiptoeing along the hall the other night.
You get around, don't you, Martin?
I won't have it, Adrienne. You understand? You're not marrying another Philip, an indulgent husband to be led around by the nose. You're marrying me. Unless, of course, I decide not to go through with it.
2 days before the wedding?
2 days before or 2 minutes before. I can call it off just like that. If you give me any further reason, do I make myself clear?
Quite clear. You know, if I got on the train, I could be in New York in a few hours.
Penniless.
Free as a bird.
Free to do what? Resume the profession you followed before Philip salvaged you?
I packed once before to leave.
And bluffed me into setting a wedding date. Don't try that again. Unless, of course, you have the notion to persuade Stephen to run off with you. Or have you already tried that and failed?
I wouldn't think of leaving you, Martin. Not since you've made it so profitable for me to stay. Remember, we do have an agreement.
Then see that you live up to it. And don't imagine that once you're safely past the wedding ceremony, that you'll be free to do as you like. Remember, I still have Philip's letter, and no scruples about making it public.
Against your own wife?
If she dishonors my name. You ought to have nothing to do with my grandson, Stephen, anymore. You are never to address an unnecessary word to him again, unless you're prepared to take the consequences. Drive us home, Weber.
Yes, sir.
Shining shoes. Helps pass the time. Recommend me to your friends.
Can you handle a pair of white and black golf shoes?
Hello, Doctor.
Hi. Can I talk to you for a minute?
Sure. What's up?
Have you been spending much time with Norman and Rita lately?
No, not actually. Why?
Well, Norman's under a lot of pressure, that's all. Especially since Eddie Jacks came back to town.
Something's happened, hasn't it?
Well, you'd say something's happened. Rita right now is in the most critical stages of her pregnancy, and the air's so thick around the apartment she can't get her breath. It's too much for her.
Well, because of Eddie, I don't see.
Now, look, just stop and look at it for a minute. Rita's trying to make up for something she didn't have when she was a kid. And Norman, he's confused, he's hurt, he's jealous, and he just can't handle it, that's all.
Oh, boy, have I been out of touch. Wonder why I didn't tell me.
Well, maybe it's because you haven't been available.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, just you've been busy, that's all.
I see you don't approve of Betty and me.
Look, just go to Norman, talk to him, keep him away from Eddie. Act like a buffer between them. Do something that will help out, huh?
Yeah, except that's not as easy as it sounds. Norman's very much his own man. If I try to con him...
Look, con him, hit him on the head, put him in the closet. You have to do something. Rita right now is kind of like a seismograph. If Norman receives a shock, she's the one that shows it.
I get the feeling there's more here, and you're just not talking.
Where?
Is that medical ethics? Have you tried handling it from the other end? Well, go to Eddie and see if you can keep him away from Norman.
Well, I warned him about Rita's condition. That's all I could do. As far as he's concerned, I'm an outsider.
I see. Well, I'll take a crack at it.
Thanks, sir.
Wait a minute, I'll walk you out.
Right. I'm glad I found you in. Oh, hello, Doctor.
All righty.
I finally got around to opening up a checking account. Here's payment number 2.
Well, thank you. How's the car running?
Great. Just great. 3 museums have already made me an offer.
Well, if you have any trouble with it, you bring it by, okay?
You bet I will. Oh, say, I got a little time before I go to work. How's for letting me buy you a beer, huh? Both of you.
Well, maybe Rod can go. I've got a couple of calls to make.
Well, Eddie, can I take a rain check on that? I've got a date.
Strikeout, huh? Well,
I'll see you later, Rod. Excuse me, Eddie.
I'm afraid I got off on the wrong foot with him. It's too bad because he's a nice guy. Well, I got family to check. So long.